If you are enjoying your morning cup of coffee or tea, then today's checklist is for you because we are talking about caffeine. Here to tell us everything we need to know is our dynamic duo, NBC News medical contributor, Dr. Natalie Azar, and today health and nutrition expert, Joy Bauer. Good morning to you.
Ladies.
So this is one of those things where you assume you know, but sometimes it's nice to get a little refresher.
Correct.
Let's start with exactly what is caffeine and talk about some of the benefits first.
Yeah, okay, so caffeine is a natural stimulant. Let me say this again. This is not something that we are like creating in a lab, right? Caffeine is naturally in a lot of different things that Joy is going to talk about. It's a stimulant, which means that it is basically triggering our central nervous system, that's up here, to secrete these chemicals, neurotransmitters that impact a lot of basically everything that we do. What can we benefit from when we have caffeine? We have alertness, mood, focus, physical performance, headache relief. Now, caffeine a lot of times is in coffee, so a lot of the studies that are done are kind of like not isolating caffeine alone. So soda isn't what we're talking about. We're mostly talking about coffee and tea. I want to just point out a study that we did over the summer about this concept of healthy aging, that middle-aged women who drink 1 to 3 cups of coffee a day can grow older with the absence of 11 chronic diseases. Right? So even our mental health, our physical health can all be influenced positively by caffeine, again, in the setting of...
Is that just black coffee, then?
Well, that gets into a couple of things about, does dairy impact that? Does non-dairy creamer impact that? Black sugar, black coffee, when isolated, that's usually what we're talking about when we're talking about reaping the most benefits. Yes.
Okay, so Joy, we talked about coffee, but what else is caffeine in naturally?
Yeah, so coffee automatically comes to mind, but the amount of caffeine in a cup of coffee can actually vary dramatically. Some cups whisper and other cups shout. So an 8-ounce cup, that's a standard cup, has about 70 to 100 milligrams. But keep in mind that some of the coffee chains, for example, Starbucks, have more caffeine concentrated coffee. And as an example, a Venti, which is 20 ounces, can have about 400 milligrams. Decaf gives you a little bit, only about 15 milligrams, but for people who are super sensitive, that could make a difference. Espresso is strong, short, and straight to the point. Now, you see...
Much like yourself.
Thank you for that.
That's good.
So an ounce has about 65 milligrams. That's less than a cup of coffee, but because you get a quick hit and it's concentrated, you have big energy from it. So that's why we think about espresso really like perking us up. Tea and soda have about half the amount of caffeine compared to a cup of coffee, and energy drinks is a wild card. When you look at the brands, it could range from 40 milligrams to 400 plus milligrams. And this is worrisome because a lot of young kids are drinking more than 1 can at a shot. And some surprising foods and beverages, whenever you see the word chocolate or coffee, that means that there could be some natural caffeine in these products. Nothing really to worry about, but if you have sleep issues, these wouldn't be the things that you want to snack on right before bed.
Does your body need caffeine? Is there like a recommended dosage we should be getting?
So, from all of the studies and the positive research, we know that up to 400 milligrams is okay, and in fact could be beneficial for healthy adults. For those who are pregnant or breastfeeding, you want to keep it under 200 milligrams, and also speak with your physician because they may say just lay off of it. And for kids, less is always better, less than 100 milligrams. And it's also important to point out that I say this number 400 milligrams for healthy adults. It's really about personal tolerance. Some people can have a coffee with dinner and sleep like a baby. Somebody else has a latte at noon and they get, like, I call them the cafe cha-cha-chas, you know, anxiety, jitteriness. So, like, know your personal tolerance and sort of adjust to
People
that.
metabolize caffeine differently.
Dr. Nelly, to that point, though, are there certain populations that should maybe consider avoiding it, or are there certain side effects from it?
Yeah, and also I think a question that is often added onto that is, like, can you have your morning cup of coffee on an empty stomach? Is that safe or is that not safe? The short answer there is kind of like whatever works for you is okay. Some people do have digestive issues if they do drink on an empty stomach. Some people don't. But certainly certainly we know that caffeine can increase anxiety, irritability, dizziness, heart palpitations, heartburn. It can increase blood pressure, cause jitteriness, nausea, and trouble sleeping. Oh my God, it sounds so awful. The cha-cha-chas. I do want to make another point, though, about the palpitations. Craig, you may remember a few weeks ago we did a study, or we reported on a study where people who had atrial fibrillation, that arrhythmia, were allowed to drink coffee after their AFib or abstained from caffeine and coffee after the AFib. There was no increase in recurrence of atrial fibrillation. So we used to always say the mantra, if you have an arrhythmia, you can't drink coffee. Not necessarily true anymore. Anyone out there listening, talk to your cardiologist before you start drinking too much coffee. But I think that's kind of neat. It's like a little bit of a new horizon for those patients.
So good. Dr. Azar and Joy, as always, thank you guys.
Thank you.
And for 2 of Joy's favorite recipes, by the way, featuring caffeine, head to today.com.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC or take Today when you're on the go. Just follow the Today podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.